Hello and welcome back. I'm Dave, and beside me is a buddy of mine that came in from out of town to screw around with electronics. We tried to blow up our house, it didn't work, but this is Donnie over here, and he was kind of impressed with the accuracy of the YZXStudio LCD version I just recently did a review on, so we decided to compare it to some other common USB power testers that you would see on the market. One of them is got this one actually around the corner. It's a common one you see on Amazon, marketed under different names, of course. It's actually got two USB ports like the Drock one, but it also claims 1% accuracy, 3 to 9 volts, 0 to 3 amps. So over here we have a 1 and 2 amp load tester, and we have the Fluke 289 running running to complete the circuit for the load tester, so we can monitor the amperage picking up here. This is running to my power supply. It's a linear power supply. We found out that's a lot more stable to maintain amperage and voltage when you're doing a check to see how accurate it is, so we're going to use that compared to some of the switch power supplies. And we have two of these, so we can actually run dual tests on these and see which one, or even the difference between the same units and how much they can vary in difference. And also over here we have the OLED USB 3 YZXStudio versions, which is 4 volts to 13 and 0 to 3 amps. Pretty much I believe this one may be 4 volts to slightly higher, 15 if I'm not mistaken, but still 0 to 3 amps USB 2 version LCD versus the OLED version. If Donnie's here, or Don, what do you prefer, Donnie, Don?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Everybody called me Don.
Yeah, Don these days, Donnie if you've known him since 2nd grade. But yeah, so Don's going to help drive the on-off on the current switch over here. I'm going to drive the power supply, and we're going to see what kind of accuracy we get out of the LCD USB version 2 first. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. We'll pull the other contenders out of the ring and give you a nice clean display look on that. And you'll also notice that I've already zeroed out the ADC amp current side of things over here. I also want to demonstrate something else on here, since we figured out a way to actually simulate a high voltage and low voltage, so you can see what it looks like on the LCD version. Okay, so I'm ready. Go ahead and hook up. And apparently we have it on the 2 amp switch. Sorry, let's go ahead down to the 1. So there you go. That is pretty dead on. I'd call that well within spec, well within tolerance of what they expect. So let's go ahead and switch it out. I'll go ahead and switch it over to the 2 amp load here. Let me see here. Okay, we ready on your side?
Yep.
All right. So on the 2 amp, let me see. Whoops, sorry. So you can see that's pretty much dead on too. And so even at the lower end and the higher end, it's still dead on. That's just amazing accuracy. Switch it back down to the 1. Still doesn't make a difference. Okay, so we can actually compare this to the Fluke as well. So let's go ahead and pull this out. Well, before we do that, some people are actually concerned about the difference between the LCD version and the older style OLED version. So let's go ahead and put some of those fears aside. Plug in the OLED and do the quick run load test on this as well. I seem to have shifted.
Okay, we're going over.
There we go. I'll zoom back in since the LED is a little harder to see on the camera. So that's the 1 amp load. Still very close. Of course, this one I want to note was not calibrated by Franky Tong. Franky does go ahead and calibrate his units that he sends out beforehand to every customer. He calibrates it with an Agilent 6.5 digit desktop digital multimeter, right? So still fairly good though for the person I bought this from. And same thing here on the 2 amp load. So what are we off here? 9889, 988, 75789.
Not much.
Yeah, not much at all. And to tell you the truth, I had to calibrate this. This was actually much further off when I first got it, so the only reason it's this close right now is because I actually went ahead and calibrated. Switch it back over to high. Maybe the load's warming up now. Still not much at all. Still well within spec is what you expect to see. Definitely. Okay. So, did want to show you guys one other thing before we go ahead and open up these. What did we pay for these?
$8.
8? Okay. To show one other thing here. There is an edit feature here on the can I see that? Yeah, it's the screen here. Okay. So let me change the menu. So you'll notice on this menu here it says unknown device. That's because I'm only feeding positive and negative power into it. But yeah, as you can see here, it does say OK. The OK is basically telling you you're within spec of your voltage, where I didn't think about doing this in my previous review. If I raise the voltage on this, I can actually get it changed. There it says high. So that's what you can expect over 5.5 volts. It'll actually tell you that you're on the high volt side, but you're still within spec of the unit, so you're not going to blow it, but it is high. So at least you do know, as a little warning, a little precursor there. And then you can actually go under 4.5 volts and it changes to low, which is pretty neat. I've never actually seen that or tested this. So 4.414, and I'm actually at 4.42 on my power supply. So again, even compared to my power supply, which I don't expect my power supply LCD to be too accurate, but that's actually dead on, just about well within spec. And turn that off. Let's move on to these guys. Here, you bought this one. You can do the honor and open yours. Look at that. We are running a resistor as a shunt in there. I wonder what chips they're using for a deck and everything on this. It's interesting. So they call this the USB detector here. We got 2 outputs. We got an output on the top as well as an output on the bottom. So
No button.
no output in the back, no button because there's no features. It's a very simple, straightforward, plug it in, done. You need nothing like the YZXStudio with the features, the memory, the upgrades, the whatever, everything that does actually. These are just
I wonder
very,
which one it looks at when you put it on both.
well, one of them, I think, if this is like the Drock, one of them, the Drock actually combined the 2 of them together. It actually took them both. I almost overloaded the Drock by putting two 2 amp devices in it. It actually spiked up to 4 amps and I almost overloaded it. If you want to do the load test on yours, let's see where it comes to accuracy wise. I'll zoom in here. There we go. Oh yeah, we got that whole
Sideways shit.
different angle for the let's move some cables around here. There we go. Alright. So I guess we'll just throw it on. See what it does. 0.95 amps. That's actually, yeah.
Not 1% though.
Not 1%, no. Not what it claims anyway. 5.14 volts. I'm actually feeding it 5.42 volts. That's way off.
Let's try the other port though.
Well, we do have the other port, but let's try 2 amps too.
More of a voltage drop.
More of a voltage drop, definitely, and actually a further distance apart on the amperage accuracy too, as well.
Makes sense, percentage.
Yeah. So it's actually red and blue here. We got 2 different colors going here. So
Let's try the other side.
Wonder if, well, you know, the instructions are simple. There was none.
Yep.
So we don't know what side's more accurate, what side's running data, what side's not running data, if any's running data. If the data side is available, does that affect the reading? Which side has a better reading? There's all kinds of I don't knows on this one right here. So we got, again, same thing, 0.95 and under 2. Same. And about the same off too.
Yeah.
So I think they're probably just both power. Yeah, let's go ahead and shut that off.
Interesting.
I don't think mine's gonna be any better. Honestly, being the same thing. No sense of testing that. Just to be safe. Maybe we got a bad unit. It happens, right? A lot. Sometimes. From certain suppliers. Let's go ahead and turn this on. 5.42 volts, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that, 5.26. We're closer on the voltage, but we're still off on the amperage. We're actually a little closer on the amperage here. Better within spec.
Yeah.
Not as good, but a little better. You can keep this one if you want to. Definitely still a voltage drop there, and 1.91, 1.91. That's actually dead on, but I'm still at 5.42 volts versus 5.08 volts. Yeah.
Well, that's what your voltage
Is providing.
set at.
And that's what it's providing. If I was to cut that back, if I was to resist that voltage, it was changed on the display here, just like the amperage changes too. It also comes down to how it was reading the voltage, because as you saw in the YZXStudio, it actually matched up with the voltage that my supply said it was providing.
I know.
So, is it reading the voltage coming in, or is it reading the voltage after the fact, after the deck? You know.
After load.
After load, after deck, yeah. The questionable factors, I guess. Well, I know when I first bought my first one, like let's say this one right here. I was looking.
Let's test that one.
I was looking at the input because I wanted to know if my USB power supply, the thing
putting in
the correct voltage, which
so
then I can
device.
assume my device, when it's plugged in directly, got that same voltage, right? So that's the one I want to know about more. You know. Now I understand my circuit that I built for the load. Well, that is, yeah. Here, this is actually the more accurate one. So here, you can keep that one. So we do have one more, actually. Let's throw one more in the mix. Like you said, I had this one. Let's try it. Why not? This one's slightly different. It actually reads milliamp. It's supposed to read the milliamps of the. Oh wow, man! It is really late here. We've had a long day.
Test it.
Milliamps on the battery. It's supposed to calculate and keep track of the milliamps charging on the battery, so you know if the battery is actually.
Watt hours.
Yeah, but it actually says milliamp because
hours.
they recently changed everything to watt hours now. It used to be milliamps back in the NiCad days and when LiPos first came out, but everything keeps changing. So, welcome to our world. You get old, you start to realize back in my day, it was always milliamps. Let's see here. So we got 1 amp load here, and now, dang, this thing's upside down. So let's go ahead and try to read that. Let's put 0.99. Okay, versus still not
1. So that's just about dead on. What's the voltage? I can't read upside down on my screen.
The voltage actually says 5.21.
Maybe. Oh, 5.21.
Yeah,
that's still different.
So let me point this out. You got the voltage upside down, 5.21, and that's 0.99 amps there. This is the memory bank I'm on, and that's just the milliamp counting that it thinks is feeding into, which is not even a battery. It's a dead load that we built. Let's go to 2 amps. 1.91, 1.92, 1.93. So yeah, 1.92. It just flipped up. Yeah. This is actually pretty good. This is better than I thought it would be. This is a $20 one, but it is missing a lot of the features that the YZXStudio one actually does provide. As far as different readings, wattage, and everything. Huh?
Test it right at the back of that.
Oh, if you test it, you want to see. Well,
Just to make sure
let's take
that's
this.
right.
Let's take this out real quick. Say Good. Actually, here, I have a better
Yeah,
way
that
for
would
you to
move.
do this. Then,
That's not loaded though.
are you testing the amperage? I
Doesn't
thought you were
matter,
checking the voltage.
which will drop under load.
Oh, you want to see it while it's dropping under load.
Yeah,
Okay.
while we're actually testing.
Well, in that case, if you don't promise to short it out on me.
Yeah, well, I'll get two different leads though. So I can't use them to do that.
No, use these actually. Okay, you got
Yeah, same
you got
thing.
your leads.
It's easier just to touch them together.
So let's give it a load again. Pull that up. We'll do 1 amp load actually. We'll leave it on 1 amp right now. Now I need to figure out how to flip this for you. Well, let's see what it says first. First it says, now it says 5.18 volts under 1 amp load. And you measure. Let me go down on this one. There you go. 5.23.
5.23. What's that say?
5.18.
So
Still off either way. But this, was this one that was off, or was that the one that was more accurate? So one of them was way off. So this one, 0.96, this is the one that's way off. 96 to 99. Still says 5.18, oddly enough. And you pick up. Oh, there you go. Oh, almost. 5.24. 5.23, yeah, same. Okay.
So
Shut down the power supply.
now they're both garbage.
They're both garbage. I'll tend to agree. Okay. Our YouTube verdict is they're both garbage. There you go. We're done.
Yeah, I don't think there's much that can be saved.
Well, hey, that's the hobbyist professional opinion. The black ones are garbage. The red ones are amazingly accurate with a lot of different features and firmware upgrades that keep coming back out. The $20 one actually, well, the $21 one actually surprised me, to tell you the truth. And this also has the 8 memory banks, but it doesn't calculate everything or graph everything or even save memory points to graph out later like the YZX. But it does keep track of 8 different memory banks, and it calculates it as milliamps. That's the only math equation it knows how to estimate. You know. Yeah, so throw that meter back in. So that is our opinion. So far, very impressed with the accuracy of these. I've been having fun with these and just building different loads to test it and figure out different ways to double check. And every time I check something and come up with a new way to try to maybe trick it under a different load, it comes out on top every time.
It wins.
You know, it wins. Yeah, it beats me somehow. Matches my fluke, which is just amazing and unexpected at the same time. So, average cost for the YZXStudio adapters here, the LCD or the USB 3 version, no LED, which I think was going to be coming out in an LCD version, but it will be a green PCB, kind of the same style, 3 PCB board layer. You're talking about, what did I pay for this? 20. I think Franky Tong. I'll link his website to his eBay store in the description. I think it sells for about $26 to $28. Something like this with the 2 ports that you see, very common, and we don't even know what's inside of it. Basically cheap stuff. Anyway, $9. Basically any of the ones under $10, that's what you can expect. This one, $20, slightly different. It also has a micro USB port over here at the end, so you can actually test the actual cable differently. But you can also do the cable testing with the YZX because it actually gives you the resistance on the load as well, and you can tell if you got a good cable or not, which is a nice feature on both of them actually. So. But something like this was $20, but I've seen it listed as high as $40. It's not worth $40, people. Don't pay $40 for it. And if you're going to go $20, go the extra $6 or $7 and get one of the YZXStudio ones, because it is worth it. It should last you a long time, and firmware updates is available You can do that from Franky's site also. He actually sells the programmer. It looks like this. It comes with the pins and the cable that look like this, as well as the Bluetooth adapters. If you want to do a remote login, you can buy the Bluetooth adapters and solder those in. I'll do a video on that later on and link that in the bottom description as well. And it will actually save 350, about 348 data points. I think it is something around there. So you can actually pull the graphing up later, and you can check out my other videos that walk you through the menus and the features and the differences between the firmwares and what have you. So thanks for watching, and if you find this video helpful in any way, please subscribe and make sure you're notified of any new videos coming out soon to be released, as well as give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Keep on building.